An old tramp was walking along in the middle of winter through a dark forest, and it was beginning to get rather late. The sun had set, twilight was upon him, and it was bitterly cold. But he was a jolly tramp. He whistled a merry tune, and he felt cheerful because he could see twinkling away in the distance a little light. "There's a house over there," he said to himself. "Surely whoever lives in it will let me sleep the night by their fire and give me something to eat." The light came from the window of a cottage, and soon the tramp was knocking on the door. It was opened by a fat, rather cross-looking woman.
"What do you want, then?"
"Please, madam, I've walked a long way. I'm very cold, I'm very tired, and the next house must be a good 5 miles. Please let me come in and sleep on the floor until it gets light, because it's rather frightening out here in the forest on my own."
"What do you think this is, then? An hotel or something? I live here all by myself. I'm not going to let a stranger in."
"Oh, I promise you, madam, I'm a very respectable man. I wouldn't do you no harm. I won't steal anything."
"I should think not, indeed. I'm very poor. I've got nothing to steal anyway. And you won't get a chance, because you won't even get through the door."
"Oh, don't be hard-hearted, lady," said the tramp. "Remember, we should help one another."
"Help one another? And where would I be if I helped every tramp that came to my door? I'd be eaten out of house and home. Go on, be off with you."
But the tramp was very persistent, and he argued and argued with her until finally she was so tired and the door was letting in such a draught that she said,
"Oh, all right then, come in. You can sleep on the floor. I certainly haven't got a bed for you."
"Oh, I knew you were a good, kind woman the moment I set eyes on you," he said. When he got in the house, he saw that the old lady, although she pretended not to have much food or much money, was actually just being rather mean and stingy. She had a very cosy cottage and a nice big log fire glowing on the hearth. The tramp sat himself down in front of it. The steam rose from his damp clothes. He warmed his gnarled hands in front of the flames and blew on his fingers and got the feeling back into them. "Oh, madam, it's a very cold night out there. You don't know how happy I am to be all cosy and warm inside."
"All right, don't go on about it," she said. "Just sit there and keep quiet."
The old tramp was beginning to feel rather hungry. "I hope you don't mind me asking, madam, but have you got just a little crust or two that I could eat?"
"I've told you that you could come in here and sleep on the floor. I didn't say you were going to eat. I've hardly anything in the cupboard for myself, so it's hardly likely that I'd be giving what I've got to a tramp, is it?"
"I could cook it myself. It would save you any trouble."
"Cook it yourself? Certainly not. I'm not having you messing up my kitchen."
"But it wouldn't take me very long, madam, and I wouldn't make a mess, I promise you. All I need is a nice big pan and some water."
"Oh, a nice big pan and some water. Oh, well, if you're so clever that you can make a meal out of a pan of water, I'll get you one."
And the old lady went to her cupboard, pulled out her biggest pan, filled it with cold water, and gave it to the tramp. The tramp put the pan on the fire. "Oh, thank you, lady. Now I'm going to show you how to make some lovely soup. Now then, let me see." He put his hand in his pocket and pulled out an assortment of things. A conker, a piece of string, a pocket knife, a spotted handkerchief, a couple of brown feathers, and a 4-inch nail. He sorted amongst them, picked out the 4-inch nail, and dropped it into the pan of water.
"And what do you think you're doing?"
said the old lady. "Well, madam, I'm making myself some nail broth."
"Oh, nail broth! Whoever heard of such a thing?"
"But, madam, I can assure you it's the most delicious soup you've ever tasted." And he unhooked a big wooden spoon from the wall and began to stir the water and the nail round and round. Then he took a sip from the spoon. Not bad. Not bad, really, for nail soup. It'd taste a bit better if it had a bit of barley in it, but, well, as nail soup goes, it's not bad."
"Oh, well, as a matter of fact, I've got a little bit of barley somewhere."
"Have you, madam? Could you spare me just a handful, just to throw it in, to thicken it up a bit, you know?"
"Oh, all right,"
said the old lady, rather intrigued, and she hustled away and came back with a jar filled with barley and shook a few grains into the pot. "Oh, thank you, madam, you really are a good sort," said the tramp. He stirred again and tasted again. Yes, that's coming along better. Mind you, it'd taste a bit better if we added a little flour, just, well, you know, to give it a bit more richness, like. You know, nail broth really needs a bit of flour.
Oh, well, I might just have a spoonful of flour somewhere,
said the old lady, and she came back with a little bag of flour and shook it into the pan. Oh, thank you, madam, he said, stirring it and watching it get thicker. Now, this really is something. I'll let you have a taste of this nail soup.
Ooh, fancy, she said. Look at it. It looks quite nice. Look at what you can make out of just a nail, eh?
Well, it's amazing, madam. It really is what you can make out of a nail. It would be a bit better, mind you, if I could just have a little bit of salt beef and a couple of vegetables, you know, a potato, a carrot or something like that, just to add a bit of flavour to it. You see, I've used this nail to make soup about 6 times this week, and I think there's not really much flavour coming out of it, not as much as one would like, anyway.
Oh, well, just stay there. I'll see what I've got, said the fat old lady, bustling away.
She came back with a chopped-up onion, 6 carrots and 5 potatoes.
Just put these in and see how they go, see if that's enough.
And she threw them into the pan. Oh, thank you, madam. That should be quite nice. Yes. Yes. The tramp stirred and tasted. That's much better. It's bringing out the flavour of the nail, you see. It's giving it more a soupy, naily, brothy sort of taste, if you get my meaning.
Well, I never did. Fancy soup made out of a nail.
Now then, madam, bring over a bowl.
Oh, thank you, my fine fellow. You've really taught me something tonight, said the old lady, bringing across a couple of blue-striped bowls and setting them down on the hearth. The tramp ladled them out, and they both sat down together in front of the warm glow. As they supped the delicious broth, the old lady said, I mean, it's so cheap and economical, isn't it? Just some water and a nail. Well, a few bits and pieces, I suppose, but mostly it's the nail. She felt so pleased that she thought she'd better put something towards it. She hurried away and came back with slices of meat and cheese and butter and bread, and soon the table was laden out with a feast. It was just like Christmas. They had a bottle of wine in bright glasses. Soon they'd eaten their fill and drank until they were merry and warm and satisfied. The tramp, quite content, lay down on the floor to go to sleep in front of the fire, but the old lady said to him, Oh, no, my fine fellow. After you've made such lovely nail soup as that, and we've had such an enjoyable evening, I think I might as well offer you a good bed to sleep in. She took him to a little room under the eaves, and he snuggled down into a warm and cosy bed. Good night, madam. Thank you very much, he said, and he clasped in his hand the 4-inch nail he had fished out of the pan before she emptied the last flakes away. Oh, that's all right. I mean, after all, we have to help one another, haven't we? And she closed the door softly behind her.